Hi, boys and girls. How are you? Welcome to another Faith Over Fear Bible lesson. We are so glad you are here. Our last two lessons were dedicated to Black History Month, and we learned about contributions of several African Americans, as well as learn about where our roots began, which was in Africa. We also learned a little about African dancing and drumming. Finally, we highlighted two famous African Americans, Miss Cicely Tyson and Representative John Lewis. I hope you enjoyed the lessons we presented during the month of February. And remember, don't stop learning about your history. Keep learning and pass it on to others. Today, we are going to learn about how three Hebrew boys were captured by the Babylonians and became slaves, but their faith in God helped them in more ways than one. After our opening prayer and song, listen to the story of these young boys and see if you could have walked in their shoes.
Dear God, I wanted to say thank you for allowing me and thank you for allowing everybody in this world to wake up, see another day, take another step, breathe another breath. I thank you for giving me guidance. I thank you for giving me wisdom. I thank you for giving me the simple art to feel emotion and learn from my mistakes. This past year, and some people say year and some change, but this past year has been very difficult, not only for me, but for this world. We've been faced to look in the mirror. We've been faced to look outside, and many people would say it's been quite depressing. Many people would say it's been quite hard, but I would say it's just a miss. I would say that it's a transition period. It's a moment to reflect, a moment to grow, a moment to slow down and not lose hope, but grow. I thank you for instilling in my heart hope. I thank you for being the water to my boat and keeping me afloat. I thank you for being you and being a model that through tough times, we always will be fine. We just have to keep our heads high, follow you and the North Star in the sky, and understand that through pain is always gain. I love everything that you have done for me, will do for me, and continue to do for me. Thank you so much. Amen.
This the light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This the light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This the light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.
When the invading army swept into the land, they completely crushed the Israelite opposition. The Israelites were helpless. To make matters worse, the Babylonians carried off the smartest and healthiest Israelites to use as slaves and servants in their vast empire. 4 of these captives were named Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah. When they arrived in Babylon, they were given new names: Belteshazzar, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Nebuchadnezzar, the king of the land, was impressed with Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. He quickly promoted these 3 men to positions of leadership within his government and gave them authority and power over many. They served as excellent leaders and gained the respect and admiration of the Babylonians. But not everyone liked them. They had enemies. Even though Daniel, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego were in a foreign land, serving a foreign king, and speaking a foreign language, they still served the one true God. As their power increased, their fellow Babylonian officials became jealous and soon plotted a scheme to get rid of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. One day, these wicked, jealous officials proposed to King Nebuchadnezzar to build a giant statue in his likeness. It would be 90 feet tall and covered with gold. Everyone who saw it would then be commanded to bow down and worship it. These conspiring, wicked officials knew Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego would never bow to this statue. The king commanded all the people to come to the celebration and worship the golden image. The herald stood up and spoke to the people who were all looking up at the vast statue. When the music starts, you are commanded to fall down and worship the image. If you don't, you will be thrown into a burning, fiery furnace. And so it began. The music started, and everyone fell down on their faces, worshiping the golden image. All except for 3 people: Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. They refused to bow down. They stood tall above the bent-down crowd. Now the enemies of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego had their chance. They ran to the king and said, "O king, look! These Jews, whom you appointed to government positions, they are disobeying you. They refuse to worship the golden image." Nebuchadnezzar was furious. The 3 brave men responded, "O king, even if you throw us into the fiery furnace, our God will protect us. Even if God does not save us, we will never serve your gods or worship the golden image that you set up." Nebuchadnezzar exploded with anger. He was enraged. He roared, "Heat the furnace 7 times hotter than normal. I want my strongest men to tie these men up and throw them into the furnace." They watched, expecting the men to burn up, but they saw something strange. The men were not burning. In fact, they were walking around in the fire like it was nothing. Nebuchadnezzar looked on in astonishment. "Didn't we throw 3 people into the fire? But I see 4 people. They aren't hurt, and the 4th one looks like a son of the gods." It was true. There was a 4th person in the fire, someone who was not an ordinary man. God was protecting Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Nebuchadnezzar came as close to the furnace as he could without burning himself up. "Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, servants of the Most High God, come out and come here." The 3 men walked out of the fire. They weren't harmed at all. They didn't even smell like smoke. Nebuchadnezzar was a changed man. He gave a new command. "Anyone who speaks against the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego will be punished. There is no other God but the true God who can rescue people like this." And he promoted the Israelite men even higher in his government.
Wow, wasn't that an amazing story? I still can't imagine it. These three young boys named Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego were taken from their homeland to become slaves in a strange and foreign land. They were separated from family, friends, and everything they ever knew. Could you imagine that happening to you? On top of that, they had to learn everything they possibly could about the Babylonian culture. These boys were very, very smart, and some of the people became jealous of them and plotted to kill them. So, what do they do now? They're in a strange country without family or friends. They must learn a different culture, and now people are plotting to kill them. What would you do? If it were me, I think I would try to run away as fast as my little legs could carry me. But these Hebrew boys did not run. Even when they were told to bow down and worship the huge golden statue that everyone else was worshiping, they would not. They knew that their God could protect them, but even if he didn't, they were not going to bow down to the statue. So this made the king very angry, and he had the boys thrown into the fiery furnace and had the heat turned up higher than normal. Guess what? There was an angel in that furnace with the Hebrew boys, and they were protected. I mean, that took some real faith to know that you are going to be thrown into a fiery furnace and you still refuse to do what the king wanted. We may not have to worry about being put in a fiery furnace, but there will come times in our lives when we must deal with some very hard challenges, and our faith in God will be tested. Will you trust God, or will you take the easy road and do what everyone else is doing and you know it's not right? Remember to always trust God and have faith that he will be with you no matter what you may come up against. Well, I hope you enjoyed this story about Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Before we go, we will have our Black History highlight and closing song. Until next time, take care and God bless you. Bye-bye.
My name is Zachary Hall. I'm an affiliated member of Mount Zion. I'm a graduate student from Old Dominion University, currently studying digital communications and marketing. And for my undergrad studies, I achieved 3 degrees, 2 majors in business analytics, and 1 in marketing. And I have a minor in geography, which is focused pretty much on research design and geospatial analysis. Our focus today on Black history will be talking about Madam C.J. Walker. She was the first African-American woman to become a millionaire. In the early 1900s, she was the president of her own company which specialized in beauty products. Walker's original name at birth was Sarah Breedlove, and she was born on December 23rd in 1867 near Delta, Louisa. She had got married at the age of 14, and in less than 10 years, her husband had died. Around the age of 20, she had moved to St. Louis, Missouri, and she had washed clothes for a living at that time. In her spare time, Breedlove experimented with hair products, and in around 1905, Breedlove created a hair treatment for African-American women. That product became quite popular for local women at the time, and in 1906, Breedlove married Charles J. Walker. From that time, she was named Madam C.J. Walker, and her product that came about was known as the Walker method, or pretty much the Walker system. Before long, Walker was a successful businesswoman. She hired hundreds of women to go from door to door selling her hair treatment. These Walker agents become familiar figures in the African-American neighborhoods in many cities. In 1910, Walker set up the Madam C.J. Walker Manufacturing Company in Indianapolis, Indiana. Walker's products eventually were sold throughout the United States and also the Caribbean, as well as Europe. As Walker's fortune grew, She gave large amounts of money to charity. She funded scholarships and homes for the elderly. And she also supported the National Society of the Advancement of Colored People. And Walker had died on May 25th, 1919 in Irvington, New York. And after Walker's death, her daughter, Alila Walker, played the key role in the cultural movement known as the Harlem Renaissance. What birthed it, I'm just gonna say it's jazz, really.
Hallelujah. Forever.